My favorite games have always been ETS2 and ATS, but lately I've been wondering, is it the trucking I love or those specific worlds? So today I'm putting that to the test. I became a trucker in 5 completely different games. Some fit like a glove, others not so much. From chaotic World War II battlefields to lonely wastelands where everything is about survival. From some of the toughest off-road simulators ever made to quiet mornings on a peaceful farm. So let's find out what it's like to be a trucker in worlds that were never meant for trucking. Hell Let Loose, a large-scale World War II multiplayer game where 100 players fight across huge maps. And it's not just about shooting, every role on a battlefield actually matters. I decided to play as logistics, probably the least glamorous job you can pick, but it's one of the most important. You're the supply line, you drive materials to the front line so engineers can build defenses, refuel tanks and keep the team alive.
Hello, Commander. A supply truck, so I can run some supplies to the boys out there. Thank you.
It might sound simple, but trust me, in a second you'll see there's nothing safe about these runs. One wrong turn can end the match for half of your team, and most of the time I was just praying the engine keeps running, getting these guys 100 yards further, safe and sound to their outposts. I then moved to getting supplies over, carrying 2 crates each time back and front from the battalion HQ to the actual strategic point. And let me tell you, when the supplies you drop are the reasons the front holds, when the squad finally takes some ground because of the stuff you brought them, that's when it clicks. You feel a rush of adrenaline pumping through even if you're just trucking. It feels like a lot more than just driving a truck, you're keeping the war going. And after a few runs, our side started to push forward. The line stabilized, the tanks rolled in, and somehow I was still alive. A couple of tankers waved me over and offered me a ride, kind of a victory lap, for the guy who kept them fueled. I climbed on top of the tank, watching the smoke fade in the distance, and I felt like I actually did it. And then, out of nowhere, I guess that's the reality of war. I went down right there on the same tank that carried me through the fight.
And if somehow I managed to get home again, that I would find a quiet piece of land someplace and spend the rest of my life in peace.
The next game is Farming Simulator 25. This one's different, and the goal here isn't to move cargo, is to create it. You start small, with a couple of fields, a tractor that's not really that powerful, handful of equipment like a plow, a seeder and a trailer, just enough to get you started. The game doesn't rush you, it just hands you a piece of land and it's really up to you to make it work. And you might ask, where does trucking fall into this scene? Well, it doesn't, not right away. You're first a farmer, an entrepreneur, and maybe then, if there's still time in the day, a trucker. And when you get to trucking, the map isn't really that big, so while you're not going to spend hours on the road exploring new places, it definitely has its charm. Trucking here feels more earned in a way, because everything you haul is something that you started, something that you built. Every pallet of produce, every load of grain and any animal that you take to a selling point, it's all tied up to your own effort. And every sale matters, it pays the bills, keeps the lights on, fuels the next planting season, and slowly chips away the loan that you probably took to afford all this machinery, including your truck. So you decide how deep you want to go. You can hire workers, take over jobs, automate production lines, and just manage the money, or you can do everything yourself, drive the harvester, load the bales, connect the trailer, and deliver the goods. I usually do it myself, and there's something really satisfying about following the whole process from start to finish. You know, planting, harvesting, loading, and finally watching the trailer empty at the farmer's market. So yeah, it might not be the kind of trucking where you're chasing long distances and tight schedules, but there's still a familiar rhythm to it. You start the engine, you check your mirrors, take the back roads to your countryside, and get the job done. It's slow, steady, and kind of peaceful. The kind of world where the hard work actually feels like progress. This game is an entirely different challenge. Survival is the only thing that truly matters here. It's not a casual experience, but most of the time a real challenge even for veteran gamers out there. It's a test of patience, planning, skill, and maybe a little bit of luck. Every move matters, every decision can end your run. People here don't worry about deliveries or deadlines. They worry about staying alive. The cold gets you first, unless you find a fire. And then comes thirst. Half of the water you find is frozen solid, and if you somehow manage to trick both of them, hunger comes right after. You get the picture. Trucking here isn't really a great idea, but for me that's kind of the point of this video. Now the thing is, in DayZ vehicles don't just wait for you, you have to earn them. Every working part is scattered across the map: spark plugs, radiators, tires, even doors. You fix one piece at a time, you have to keep moving through other towns to find all the parts you need, all that while staying alive. But let me say, when it actually starts, when you hear that diesel sound, it feels like hope, like the world might still have something left to offer. But DayZ never lets you forget where you are. I ended up crashing the truck on a tree on my way down to the beach. Smoke was everywhere, tires were in a bad shape, and the engine was just ruined. So I just decided to express my feelings on the matter. In the end, I just went back to walking. Can't really afford crying, my tears would just freeze anyway. Maybe that's what's so great about DayZ. Just you, a million things trying to get you, and a long empty road. And sometimes, if you're lucky enough to get a truck or a car going, well, you can blast down on it for a while, with nobody around to give you a speeding ticket. Now I'm gonna keep this one brief. SnowRunner is one of those games that looks relaxing until you actually start driving. It's one of those games where taking the longer route will almost always save you from the bigger headache down the road. The game shines when you're using big machinery built for this kind of terrain, but bringing a highway truck out here when you should probably be using a scout vehicle, that's what makes it fun for me. It's a game that tests how far you can push your luck before the mud wins. Whenever I play SnowRunner, I usually have a warm drink next to me, a podcast on, and a lot of patience. It's like playing chess, only here the pawns are my vehicles and the chessboard is the terrain. It's slow, frustrating sometimes, and pretty much that's the charm. When you finally make it, covered in mud and low on fuel, it just feels earned. And last but not least, BeamNG Drive. This one's a bit of a different story. It's not really a trucking simulator or even a driving simulator, it's more of a physics sandbox where everything reacts how it should, and sometimes how it should not. You can play realistically if you want, plan routes, follow traffic laws, take it slow, but for me, I already have enough games where I can do that, so I figured I'd just have some fun. The physics here are wild, every bump, every dent, every bit of a suspension flex is simulated, and that freedom makes it great. You can spend hours trying to drive perfectly, or might as well just decide to send a semi-truck off a ramp for testing purposes. Some of these games were never meant to be trucking sims, but every once in a while, if you feel like taking a break from our beloved ETS2 and ATS, it might be worth a shot. Until the next time, stay safe on the road and keep on trucking, even if the game you're playing doesn't really want you to.